Well, welcome back, everybody. Of course, Sport Federation TV. We keep talking about sport in the province, and you all know that equestrian sports is one of our Western Cape codes. Got quite a few codes within the federation, from showing to show jumping to tent pegging to endurance riding, and a number of codes. But of course, recently it was the South African Championships for showing held at Mystico. And the South African champion for showing actually hails from the Cape Town area, Dawn Newman. And on the line with me now is Dawn. Dawn, welcome to Sport Federation TV.
JP, thank you so much. So excited to be here, and thank you very much for inviting me to chat.
Yeah, first time for us to have you on the show. Let's begin off with congratulations. I suppose that is in order, and congratulations on winning the South African Showing Championships.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was an absolutely, the show itself, brilliant. I couldn't have chosen a better year to win. The sponsorship was just through the roof. I'm sure you've come across Renata van Ryswyk in your dealings with Western Cape Sport Federation. She's nothing if not a determined lady, and she was determined that she was going to make this the very best South African championship show ever. So the sponsorship for the event and for the individual championship was just out of this world. Drilco was the main sponsor for South African Showing Champs. Uwe Kutte, I've got two beautiful pieces from them for winning the individual showing championship. Two little crowns, actually, so for the Queen of Showing, apparently. And then just a host of other people, Equine SA, Mark Wine, who Hayley actually competes herself, but is always there to sponsor. And then my own personal sponsor, Kuda Insurance. They sponsor not only myself and my horses, my sister and her horses, and a number of other riders, but they were also very much involved in the sponsorship of this show. So yeah, a great event all in all.
Well, I think that's probably before we talk about your success and the build up to that. I think the fact that you've got so much sponsorship is obviously very positive for sport. All sport,
Absolutely.
of course, needs sponsors, and we know that that many of these events rely on getting sponsorship in to have successful events. And so it's fantastic that you've got individuals like Renata driving these sports sponsorships. So that's really great news. Dawn, but the showing event itself, I mean, you're no stranger to showing. Obviously, a lot of preparation went into this.
Yeah, so it was quite hectic for us. I was fortunate enough to be on the Western Cape Open dressage team as well. So we actually left for SA Dressage Champs about 10 days before SA Showing Champs started. The horses traveled up to Joburg, and that's a 2-day trip. So that takes quite a bit out of them. I had a great show up there as well. I had 2 individual silver medals in the advanced dressage competition. And they arrived back in Cape Town on the Tuesday only for Showing SA's vet check to happen on the Wednesday afternoon. So it was literally out of one truck into another and back to an event again. And yeah, so the build up to it was literally months in advance of making sure the horses were fit enough to travel. We've got a brilliant physio who preps them really well. I think the horses get more physio than we do.
So you have special physios for the horses?
No, for sure. Absolutely 100%. I mean, they couldn't cope. They get taped up for the journey because
Right.
they're standing all the way. So it's not like you and I that can catch a flight and have a seat and sort of relax. They're on their feet for the entire duration of the journey. So
Yeah.
we really do whatever we can to make sure they're comfortable. Yeah.
You mentioned two codes there, dressage and showing.
Yeah.
Just tell us a little bit about the integration of the two. I mean, if you're able to compete in a dressage event in 1 week and a showing event in the next week, what are the fundamental differences?
So I think that, they are sort of vastly different. When I personally choose a horse, I choose a horse for dressage, but I do particularly like a good looking horse. So it then lands up that my dressage horses often end up being able to show as well. Dressage is very much about the training of the horse, that they need to have really good paces, really good movement. Their conformation doesn't really matter that much. It doesn't matter if they've got a big Roman nose and 3-meter long ears. Whereas for showing, those types of things are really important. So I'm just fortunate enough to have a horse that can sort of cope in both categories. But obviously things like the training and the discipline and all of those things are very important. And actually, when you do showing, the fact that you've got a really well-schooled horse does stand you in really good stead.
Tell us a little bit about your own build up to the event from a personal perspective. How often do you have to train? What are the kind of key elements that you have to think about leading up to a South African Championships?
Yeah. So I have a full-time job. I work for Kuda Insurance as the Chief Revenue Officer. So it's a full-time job and quite a hectic job as well. So as much as I'd like to be at the stables riding sort of twice a day, the two different horses, that's not an option for me.
Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate in that I have a very good team. I school the horses. I have two horses that I compete, and I school them probably twice a week each. So I ride them myself 4 times a week. I have somebody who takes them out for a ride around the farm. I have a really wonderful groom who exercises them for me when I'm not there. And then really, other than that, it's just, for every 10 physio sessions the horse has, I'm fortunate enough to maybe have one.
Yeah.
And just make sure that I stay fit and healthy and well.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Generally, when we talk to athletes, then we say, South African champion or Olympic champion or world champion or whatever the case may be. There's a big element of high performance sport behind the scenes, from sports psychology to gym work and functional fitness, etc. Nutrition. What do you look at? You as the personal, if we take the horse out of the picture, what does Dawn Newman have to think about?
I've been riding for virtually my entire life, and my nature is exceedingly competitive. So I think I'm fairly fortunate in that way, in that I don't need to do a whole load of specific mental prep. It is kind of the person that I am. I think a bit of big match temperament goes a long way to success. And once again, I think I'm very fortunate to sort of have that as a built-in part of the person that I am. I'd love to say that I go and train at the gym for an hour and a half every day and I'm super fit and could run 10 kilometers. No, I could possibly ride 10 showing classes and maybe even 10 dressage classes. But my fitness is really, really just around riding, making sure that I'm supple enough, to ride the movements, and obviously eating as healthily as I can, just to stay in the best shape possible, to fit into my riding clothes more than anything.
How was the competition on the day? We know that our Western Cape athletes are certainly dominating, certainly with our South African champion here hailing from Cape Town. How was the competition?
It was wonderful. Yeah, unfortunately, a few of the other provinces opted not to travel down to Cape Town because of the distance. I think the distance from Joburg to Cape Town is much further than from Cape Town to Joburg. So people have a tendency not to want to travel down here. So although we didn't have a huge field in terms of representation from around the country, we had unbelievably strong competitors in the individual championship. One of those was actually my sister. She qualified as the open show hack. And Georgia Beat, who is very much involved with Mystico Equestrian. She was actually the reserve South African champion, also an unbelievably good rider. She's a show jumper as well as a showing rider.
Yeah.
The very beautiful Wall Street, who is owned by Mystico Equestrian, so that was quite a nice success for them. And then the fourth rider was a girl called Dominique Tardin, who also, she has absolute nerves of steel. And, so sort of when you compete, there's certain riders that you think, oh, please don't let that person be in my class. And Dominique is one of them, because she has big match temperament in bucket loads. So it was a strong class. And just on a bit of a sort of interesting thing, Dominique's horse has the same mother as my horse. My sister's horse has the same father as my horse, so we kind of kept it in the family.
Wow. Dawn, what's next on the cards for you now? You've gone through a process of provincial championships, and now it's that you've topped the pile at the South African championships. What comes next?
We've actually, believe it or not, and I feel like saying that if I never see another horse until next year, I'm okay with that. And my horses probably feel the same way about me. But we've actually got Western Cape Dressage Champs this weekend at Stellenbosch District Riding Club.
Right.
So that's Saturday and Sunday. Still the big events on the calendar. We've got Western Cape Showing Champs. I think that takes place in November. But I've opted not to ride this year. I'm going to judge at the event instead. And we've also got the Freestyle Musical Festival at Rivendell Stud towards the end of the year as well. So those are the three big events in terms of showing and dressage that are still remaining for the rest of the year.
Dawn, we'll leave it at that, and we'll say to you, congratulations again on
Thank you
your
very much.
title as South African champion, and of course making Western Cape Equestrian so proud.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much for the chat.
There we go, folks. Dawn Newman, South African champion in the Western Cape Showing Code, and yeah, great to see that our Western Cape Equestrian Sports is doing so well. Of course, number of events still coming up then in this year, and we'll keep following their progress and keep talking and profiling the champions of Western Cape Equestrian. Folks, we'll take a break now. When we come back from the break, we'll carry on talking about sport in the province. Back in a sec.